a high daily update on me now. Subscribe and share my son a bear. Unia so by the Baba Beshe. Yes, I believe any children that saw Parliament will be a year at Forson Asoya. I'm making some statements at the $5 and city depreciation or cast a dollar rate. Sabias is speaking of bro AC the year because AC did not $1 to CD 15 pesos. Sorry, 15 cities 30 pesos such as and once Makwe de Jawa Parliament a man for the air bobo. Not quite unfortunately no and ne obi a one time castle Parliament etima soye jina hwa ono so say on tia say to force and say a year CD to dollar no edu 15 cities 30 pesos afin so no also on tia say a year food inflation edu 48% on tia say na hwan Agyapong not just when a year to force near big bank tapa or Parliament or any senator way to money way no sort to money way on tia say master Sisiana ba Sisiana bank mehuni na so on tia say so no you sema akodo abekoto ha che so moda so den ebo bon na so no ato force ya sorry asalensi ni pa enya senator ama Parliament say baby in a lion wo you can be a lion outside but ubeko baby no akoda na cat. Yes, I believe couldn't continue
on his feet. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to seek your advice. What my honorable sister said about his objection to the majority leader's description. I ask, Mr. Speaker, what should be the perfect description of my colleagues when they were screaming? Because honorable minority leader was deceiving the House, but we all kept quiet and listening to him. I challenge him to tell me today's rate, the exchange rate. It's not 15.3, but nobody. Again, the food inflation is not 48, but we didn't say anything. The moment he gets on his feet, everybody is screaming from the other side. So, Mr. Speaker, what is the description that should be given to them for their behavior? It's becoming too much. We can also get up and scream at them. What will be the results you're going to get out of that? So, my honorable members, you all, with all due respect, you don't have the license to scream and think nobody has the license to respond. Yeah, we can also respond accordingly, but what will be the fate of the House? So I'm challenging my minority leader to tell us. I just came from a great bank and I know the rate. So tell us, what is today's rate? You are saying 15.3. Tell us. Thank you very much.
Well, yes, minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, it's important for me to put this on record. Mr. Speaker, I check my facts anytime I speak. Mr. Speaker, I'm a man of numbers, and I don't joke with my numbers. Mr. Speaker, before I spoke, I sent a message to someone who operates a forex bureau. Mr. Speaker, and asked the rate at a forex bureau. Mr. Speaker, I have the evidence here. He said $1 is 15 cities, 30 pesos. 15 pesos. Mr. Speaker, this is a place, anytime I want to buy $1, if I want to travel, I buy dollar from. Mr. Speaker, and this is the information I was given. So, Mr. Speaker, I use that as my information. I challenge him. You can bring yours as well. So, Speaker, finally, so, Speaker, the fact that if the headline inflation is say 26%, does not mean food inflation is equally 26%. So, Speaker, within the inflation basket, we have other components. And in the basket, food inflation, I repeat, is 48%. Mr. Speaker, and I can share with you a data and information that I picked up. Mr. Speaker, and it's here. As of April 2024, food inflation is 48%. Mr. Speaker, I insist. That is the data I have, and this data is coming from Ghana Statistical Service. And that is what I use for the purposes of my argument. Mr. Speaker, I have not deceived this House, and that is the information. Thank you.
Honorable members, please, let's move on. I think my guidance was being sought. It is not to open the gates for a debate on this issue. Just that the one who sought my guidance could not resist the temptation to go into that area. But I recognize the fact that in this house, like every society, we have the lions and we have the cats. We have the hawk and we have the doves. And so I guided by saying, let's be specific and name names, but don't use general terms. So I thought that was sufficient, but please, I will start calling names so that your constituents will hear and follow you as to how you conduct yourself on the floor of this House. I think it's very important. And I'll also apply sanctions. The sanctions could include suspension. Read your law. You will know that a member of parliament can be suspended for a number of days, and a member of parliament can even be dismissed from the House, not by the Speaker, by the decision of the House, but it has to be triggered, and the Speaker is capable of doing so. So please, may we proceed now. I will not listen to any more contribution on this matter. We'll go to item 7. Haruna Idrisu.
In Abusian 4, after this heated banter between Forson and any Agyapong Parliament, a year or more to a conversation is what I say. A year dialysis, such as I better bontia, Yatum, I could do a 491. No, I'm a for a soon or more year than and the dialysis say, first with me 2 times, 3 times now. She said, no, to me in the same beam, leaving create your car a year 2,000 a month. That's a way in the 491 every 3 times a week. I will see Kaka saying. Ti Ghana for ya de omede esu pa na eye Haruna Idrisu netima sorry or fight ama eye omo ntimi ntono catch parliament say this is the time I say parliament didn't nice from because omo ntimi ntono vulnerables no omo catch parliament was almost omo bre momo no omo bre because the finance minister no the health minister no wo hwe omo ni timam bia Ghana for intino on fili de ekubia at least a parliament for the Aja, Omuna Mama Power Mama Conti, system on fight here, and Mama, and not a Haruna Drisu as ranches or fight Ghana for you. But yes, already, inquiries our conversation, any star, any mailing AC.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Page 9, the paragraph 3, it reads, noted that even though the letter signed by the Secretary to the President to the Clerk to Parliament was not a communication to Parliament, that's not my interest. The correction that I would want with your indulgence for table to observe is, he also noted that the letter did not conform to the established channels of communication among the arms of government. The arms of government are 3. In this particular conflict, it was limited to communication between the executive, the president, and parliament when you say arms of government, you may be drawing the judiciary in. My observation. I don't know if that's what you want to convey. Well, especially when you use the word among. If you said between, we would understand. Just between the two. The executive, the president, and parliament. I have a difficulty accepting when you want to drag the judiciary into this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, I personally made that statement, and I was trying to draw the attention to our standing orders dealing with communication to and from Parliament to the other arms. So I made that statement. Thank you for drawing our attention. We'll go to page 10. Honorable members, I wanted to proceed, but you know, the standing orders that you quoted talks about the indulgence of the House first before the leave being granted by the Speaker. The only way I can get to know the indulgence of the House is to hear from the House. And that is why I just allowed. But it's difficult to gauge the indulgence. Some are for, some are against. Let me take one from, because I see the majority leader wanted to talk, but let me listen to Honorable Wr0nġ, then I come to majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to support the Honorable Akando and probably even try to put his request in context. Mr. Speaker, Parliament has been invited through an instrument of a regulation pursuant to Article 11 on fees and charges, presented to this House by the Honorable Minister for Finance. Which fees and charges, Mr. Speaker, affect persons suffering from kidney-related, or call it medically, renal failures who need urgent medical support. Mr. Speaker, regrettably, it has passed, and its passage means that it is law, even though bad law, for persons who are affected by renal failures who need care, urgent medical care in terms of dialysis. So, Mr. Speaker, what the Honorable Akando is seeking to do is to invoke the Ghanaian EU and the representative functioning members of Parliament that probably we should pass a 2/3 resolution demonstrating care to suspend not the operation of the law, just pick out the single item of the charges in respect of dialysis, which has gone up to 491 Ghana cedis from 380 Ghana cedis. Whether this House, by a 2/3 resolution, cannot say that suspend the operation of this aspect of that law, in order that the Parliament of Ghana is seen showing empathy to persons who need care. Mr. Speaker, access to that care is already problematic. The cost of it is even more problematic. Yet the law has passed, but it raises a more important issue, that when Parliament is pursuing Article 11, there must be thorough engagement by the Committee of Subsidiary Legislation in reaching out to the stakeholders, because renal patients call for help as dialysis costs hit 491. So the patients themselves are crying out, Mr. Speaker, to Parliament as people's representative. So our difficulty is, you have said you are respecting Article 112 of the Constitution, responding to a petition to recall Parliament. We don't have time. Lives may be lost. Persons may not be able to afford care. So, Mr. Speaker, what do we do? What do? We cannot call for the suspension of the entire law. It's law. But we are saying that Parliament must stand up to support persons who should have access to renal-related care and treatment by the hospital. So instead of the 491, this House can by two-thirds resolution say that just that aspect of the law, it should be held in suspension while the rest of the law fly. If we have the indulgence of the Honorable Minister for Finance, who is also in this House, and I'm sure he's also concerned about the state of renal patients in the country. That is what he's seeking to do, because after today, we may not have an opportunity to deal with this issue. And whether it's Kolegu or it's Konfuanachi or Bolgo or Tamale Hospital, persons who want to have access to do their either 2 times a week or 3 times a week care, at least we are sure that they can provide the 381. Other than that, the Minister for Finance should be assuring us that yes, I can let the law operate, but I'll make available 2 to 5 million to support patients who may need care. That we are asking, Mr. Speaker, that Parliament should do something. So the Minister for Finance can say that let the law operate, but having heard from the representatives of the people, I'll set aside some amount of money to support persons who may not be able to afford this in order that we protect life. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I have heard my colleagues, but if they may indulge me, Mr. Speaker, Order 93.1, you've responded to it, which talks about with the indulgence of Mr. Speaker and all. Mr. Speaker, if you come to Order 93.2, it says that the proposed statement shall be admitted by the Speaker with or without modification. 93.3, the text of the statement as admitted shall be read when the member is called upon to make the statement.
There was a foreign Microsoft Parliament at a crab match as a because of the latest update if you baby ano area bram now so when your opportunity could be aha and a year at a force in a year Agyapong so sorry I'm to be more pan behind because at a force in a banner a year economy a ban of finance won't know because also we speak with facts or sorry you know what I say honorable Agyapong what can one some day now so major will be a minyam information free make kasa with fact or pass work of our fact bra I was silencing ye pan or still pass our fact bra me my chair will be a minyam give you so dear wing I just say no quite a big banter or engas and get on your speaker and a bell ma ke besa match say baby work with any papa now the speaker catch a conclude the BBA say you can be a lion outside now so bad dear where a cat be obian baby or Kesi or yes and a reality be quite bonting with my be it you all the kind of fine and answer so no baby no now na crack it crying bread ever what you say you who say seen ever after that and so no hearing a do so I did papa so what my sorry fight me here for muntiminton here from that dialysis so muntimin the intiaka sanya mano because ye car this government want it because ye car a year MPP for MPs from because omon dream man for I think say power now not just dama omope hearing a juicer sorry fight catch speakers on funny nice for immediately no money be being found because a man for a day free because of this thing because any boy thing a dream mo yen foul also our 20 boom ya form also yen track it you also our 20 boom. Oh, cancer man for us, someone tells us what kind of inflation across. Inflation, if I say inflation, I must say there's a 28, if I say 25 from po. Now 25 time I saw it no, or the first na 40. 40 na na dano. Momo say so figures and say 40. Now so 40 no, na dan sisi no, enima born kwa na ekoso. And so mo say 40. 40 da 40. Fine. Momo say a sort about 30 about 20. Now so that 40 na momo cast a sort and nema boko kuma nema bomba of mo. And nema boko and a coso. So momo figures no for free him. So intina man just say ma NDC MPs for 90 min koma nuntum was some kind of creature to me. Tino no home send the credit kuhuya and ya sanketwa. Comment section or the control comment me be home. Yes, be why then Akayama. Subscribe nation like Monia Sunday. And if you know who you could be 100% musi. Busia for ya Akroma.